We're live.
Hello, world. We're here.
Hey,
I'm Nick,
I'm Charlie.
and this is Under the Covers.
Under the Covers podcast.
Yeah,
Debut episode.
yeah. We should probably give them a quick backstory. We have a pretty sophisticated and high end production here in my office down in my basement, and this is take two.
Take two. There were so many buttons. I guess we didn't push the right ones. Um,
That's what my wife says to me all the time.
so yeah, half an hour deep. Found out it wasn't recording, but here we are now.
Back again.
Cross the fingers. This is recording this time.
Rehearsals.
Anyways, so yeah, Charlie and Nick, Under the Covers podcast. We are going to talk about songs.
Original songs,
Originals,
and then the covers of those songs, popular songs. And this has been about 6 months in the making, actually. Charlie, you told it good the first time, so why don't you tell it again?
All right. So yeah, I think it was back in July. Well, first, I'm from Michigan. Nick lives in upstate New York, and I was in town visiting 4th of July, and we were hanging out by the lake, and we were just listening to music, and Nick had his little speaker, Bluetooth speaker, and we were with our buddy Sean and Nick's son Scott, and
started just listening to songs, and we found a playlist here on Spotify that was all cover songs of rock and roll songs and things like this. Some of them which you know, some of them that I didn't know either the band or that some of these cover songs were even covers. The popular version being the cover.
Yeah.
So then we started talking about like which one did we like better. And some were the original artists, some of them were the new one. Some of them were toss-ups like, wow, I mean, I feel like today I like this one because I'm by the lake and I'm 9 beers deep. But yeah, and so then people started listening to us talk about this, like sort of around us, and pitch in with their own thoughts. So we're getting back to the house, and Charlie, you were the one who first brought it up. Said, you know what, this might be a good podcast. And I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, so Charlie, you listen to a lot more than I do, and so you started running with this and talking to some coworkers, and right?
Yeah. We were getting excited about the idea because we came back to the house, sitting on the deck, enjoying the weather, and started playing more. And then we started that. I think this is when we really started debating, like, oh, I like this one better because of A, B, and C, or whatever. And then there was also almost like, oh wait, you're right, that is better because of this, and things like that. And we just decided, let's give this a go. Again, back 4-5 months ago or whatever it is now, and brought it up to some coworkers and friends, and they all thought, that's actually a really good idea. I'd listen to that.
Yeah. And to tell everybody, we're not like Rick Beato or some classically trained musicians. We just really enjoy music, listening to music. We're both album listeners. We typically listen to entire albums versus just songs. There's songs listeners, and then there's album listeners. We're typically the album guys. I play guitar, so I know something about some music. Charlie, you sang a little bit, and you have a phenomenal talent for picking out words. Like I maybe it's just because I play guitar and I'm always listening to the guitars and the bass and the drums. But man, you're a words guy.
Right? Yeah, I enjoy words. I enjoy listening to them. I enjoy singing along. And so I think that's part of it as well. And that I just yeah.
So as we were figuring out what we kind of wanted to do here, we want to build a community around this. We want people's thoughts because we feel that listening to music, everybody interprets it different. People have different tastes, and those are all good. And so we know that, this is to spark conversations and feedback. And so it kind of was apropos. Is that the word? Because you're the word guy. I barely can use words.
Yeah, you said it very well there.
It's apropos that we decided to choose sort of the initial song here, and with a little help from my friends. Because we want our friends to help us out here and give us likes and subscribes and have that community build there. And the other thing too is obviously we didn't want to go and pick some obscure song from some Slayer band, some death metal band, and be like, hey, well, you guys won't like this. This is pretty accessible. So people have basically heard of the Beatles, a little old band from England.
Liverpool,
Liverpool, mate.
I believe, yeah, mate is the word they say.
They say it all like upstate New York like that. Hey, mate. I doubt they say that.
Yeah, so we're gonna, Beatles recorded this song.
Yeah, and the cover version that we're going to be covering or talking about is Joe Cocker's version.
Joe Cocker, also a Brit.
Also Brit.
Yeah.
Nice. So let's start talking about this. Gosh dang, this is I feel like these are great because they're so different, and it'll be exciting to hear your thoughts on these. We'll start with the Beatles. Who was this written by? Is this a Paul song?
This is a Paul and John song. I know you like to think that John is the only real songwriter in the Beatles. That's an exaggeration.
It's just I think I just like his songwriting better because it's just a little more aggressive. Where I feel like when I'm listening to Paul's songs, I feel like I should be eating a Snickers or something and just bebopping down the road.
Yeah. I mean, so based off that statement, you almost sound like Paul kind of had a bigger hand in this song.
Yes,
because this is quite a bebopping down the road song.
But speaking about a big hand, it actually was written for Mr. Starr himself, Starkey. Ringo Starkey. I don't know. Is it
Richard?
Richard? Is it Richard?
Richard, I think. I don't know.
Dick Starkey.
Should have looked into it.
We should have looked at. Yeah.
Well, isn't that fitting? Dick Starkey and Joe Cocker.
Oh man, gosh, we're finding this. Guys, you are seeing some podcast history being made here. This is high level stuff. So, found out during this. So this is on Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which was released in 1967, and this was written specifically for Ringo to sing. And it was one of 11 songs that Ringo did lead vocals on. Did you know there was 11 songs that he did vocals on?
I would not have guessed 11.
Yeah,
I would probably guess more.
You probably knew now because I said it to you on the previous one that didn't record.
I was just pretending like this is all new to me.
I like it. So the 11 songs, Beatles songs, where Ringo sang lead vocals was "Boys," which that song is really shouldn't even been on a Beatles album. I don't think.
No, they should have called it like
a mistake. Another's "I Want to Be Your Man," which coincidentally we're big Black Crowes fans, and back in the day the Black Crowes came out on Halloween dressed up as other bands, and we saw the one and only Steve Gorman sing "I Want to Be Your Man" as a tribute, as a drummer singer to that, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, Steve Gorman from my hometown.
Steve Gorman for Strength.
Never met him.
He walked by me one time. He's a tall guy. He's a big guy.
Kind of like me, tall.
Okay. Right. With heels on, right? Two Carl Perkins songs that Ringo sang, Matchbox and Honey Don't. Oddly enough, one of my favorite Beatles songs is actually Act Naturally, Buck Owens' cover. What Goes On, the sing-along extravaganza of Yellow Submarine. My kids love that. With a little help from my friends, as Mr. Billy Shears. William Shears, say that. Don't Pass Me By, Good Night, and Octopus's Garden, which that's a fun one. I love the guitar lick in that. And I actually sung that for my son when he was born, and that's why he hates me singing to him ever since that day. So
yeah,
I won't ever do that as a mistake again. So
Sorry about that noise, folks.
He's getting emails, dude. The phone lines are open. Come on, keep them coming in here. So the recording of this song began the day before the iconic Sgt. Pepper's cover was being shot, and I don't know. I've got the record here, the original record, and this is an iconic album cover.
So cool.
It is
one of my favorites.
It's for those who don't know, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band is sort of a made up band. They are wearing these I don't know, what is that?
They're kind of like old styley war suits.
Yeah, but they're bright. And
I don't think war suits is a word.
War suits. They're Technicolor. Let me say that. Yeah, they have a lot of other cutouts and people on there. These are all famous people from history. Bob Dylan's on there. The younger version of the Beatles are in there. By the way, I don't know who is it. What is that? John? Dang, John. They did a bad illustration of John on there.
Yeah. That's what George. He's wearing a hat like Napoleon, I think.
Yeah.
And then that movie
nice.
is coming out, so I think that's where I got the war suit from.
Yeah, and there's a lot of sort of little hidden meanings all over this, and one of the biggest kind of things that I think is cool is, I don't know if you ever heard of the Paul is Dead theory.
I started it.
It's
I didn't.
You didn't
Don't
start
fact check me. I didn't start that.
You started
rumor.
it. Yeah, you got a lot of, so Charlie's got a lot of time on his hands, so he's starting conspiracy theories. No, but really, so the theory, or the conspiracy theory, is that Paul, in like, I don't know, 1966 or something like that, got hit by a car and died. Was dead. So what you're seeing here is and from that point on, they had a stand-in Paul McCartney. That they have all these different things and symbols, and
Saul McBartney.
Saul McBartney. Is that his name, really?
Could be.
Oh, Saul McBartney.
The stand-in guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that who? Because there was a guy that won a Paul McCartney lookalike contest. No,
I think I just made that up.
That's a cool name. Somebody should write that down. I might buy that website, and that could be. Guys, go to saulmcbartney.com for the Under the Covers podcast.
Trademark.
So one of the symbols on this cover here that they say allude to the Paul is Dead theory is above Paul, you'll see somebody's hand. I believe it's this guy's hand. But in some cultures, that is a indication that person is deceased.
Yeah.
So
is that John Gotti who's holding his hand up?
John Gotti?
John Gotti.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know who that is. I'm sure all these. I mean, I'm sure these are all like that's Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, I think James Dean is in here.
Yeah.
Marilyn Monroe, possibly.
Yeah, she's right. Is that her? That's probably.
I think so. Where's Waldo? Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan. The other thing too is a lot of people, say that the Rolling Stones and the Beatles can't stand each other, hated each other, but they get a little shout out here on the right hand side. There's some sort of horrible looking doll that says "Welcome, good guys, the Rolling Stones" over there. So that's probably their olive branch to
some nightmare fuel there. That doll. Imagine waking up to that.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, cool. One of the greatest albums, if not the greatest album of all time. I think, and I don't think anybody who really appreciates rock and roll and music would doubt that the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band is one of the best albums of all time. So
yeah.
So the way this is going to work is we're gonna listen to the song. We're still working on figuring out the copyright stuff because we've never made a podcast ever. So
nope.
we're just gonna play it and say, hey, come get us.
Yeah. Well, no, don't come get us. Just ignore the fact that we don't own the rights to these songs. We may have to cut them out. I don't know, but I will include Spotify links to the songs, in the actual podcast description, so you can listen along if for some reason we have to cut them out.
Yeah, the man get cut out by the man. So. The song, with a little help from my friends on the Beatles' Sgt. Lonely Hearts Club Band, is clocks in at 2 minutes and 44 seconds. And I just checked today, has over 123 million listens on the album version on Spotify. And I know you looked up something on YouTube.
On YouTube. It was, I wanted to compare the YouTube views, and The Beatles were at 20 million, and Joe Cocker was at 9.5. So I was quite surprised that it was more than half.
Yeah, nice, nice. Well, let's give it a spin, and we'll go from here. So, with a little help from my friends, by the little band from Liverpool, the Beatles.
All right. It's a good song.
Gosh, it's darn near perfect, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like every instrument has its sort of spot sonically. You just and obviously George Martin, the producer, had a ton to do with that as well. But wow, simple song, not a lot to
Simple song. I believe 5 notes.
it. I mean maybe
Maybe.
I mean I played it just a few
Placed,
minutes ago.
placed
But
in different spots. And
yeah,
Um,
it's man, but man, it's just the production quality is just amazing on
It
it
is.
to me.
speaking of production and quality, you realize that the intro to that song has the cheering when they're introducing Ringo as Billy. That was recorded at the Hollywood Bowl from one of the Beatles concerts.
You don't say.
I do say.
Man, talk about that, man. That is just, hey, let's go and get some of the recording we had when we couldn't hear ourselves
Yeah.
and put it into this thing because we're never going to play live again except for on one rooftop for one night or one day.
Do you think that Taylor Swift gets more cheers than the Beatles did?
Wasn't sure where you were going with that when she said Taylor Swift gets more. I was like, Travis Kelce?
Yeah. I wonder if Travis Kelce listens to the Beatles.
I bet you he does when she's around because he to use a phrase that he outkicks coverage.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean,
even though he's not a kicker.
by the way, I'm sort of pissed that you're ruining in this podcast with the Taylor Swift.
Oh, okay.
I want to try to get her off my NFL.
Back
Back to the topic
to
I
the
am.
Beatles.
So yeah, no, just a gosh dang, what a just. I mean, everything just fits perfect, and that first line's kind of weird to me though. Like, what would you think if I sang out of tune? It feels like it should be something. The think weirds me out. Like, and I think on the other version, I think it's what would you do if I sang out of tune or something like this.
I thought it was what would you do?
No, he says what would you think if I sang out of tune? It's 11 seconds. I can pull it back up.
No, I believe you.
Let's fire this thing.
I'm the lyric guy. Why don't I know that?
Here we go. Let's do it. Oh, that's not. I was like, wait a minute.
I have been proven wrong, folks.
What would you think if I sang out of tune? I would think you should probably change that lyric to "What would you do if I sang out of tune?" Isn't that what's that called? Iambic pentameter.
Sounds smart. Sounds right.
Sounds like it jumps and it rhymes a little bit better. You were telling me that line was something different.
Yeah, they changed it because Ringo. The second part of that was, would you stand up and throw tomatoes at me?
Tomatoes at me. That's a very British.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't want people to throw tomatoes at him.
Well, I think that they probably had a meeting about it, and they were like, "Hey guys, so I got this tomato lyric that I'm kind of struggling with, and remember how we the last Ringo, the one Ringo song where we made him sing that boy song, but it should have been girls or something. We should probably see what he thinks." And I bet you he came in and was like, "Mates, no." I don't know if that's the way. I felt like
I felt like Ringo was in the room with me for a moment. I got chills.
I'm pretty good with changing my voice that way.
But yeah, I mean, it could have been just a thing like John or Paul really like tomatoes, and they were like, "We got to get tomatoes in here. We got to get tomatoes as a sponsor. Big Tomato.
Big Tomato.
We wouldn't mind if you sponsored us."
Yeah. I mean, they could have got that. I mean, just think, life could have been changed. I mean, Campbell's could have been nothing.
True.
I don't know. Campbell's, did they have, I guess I was thinking Hunt's and what's the other one?
I don't know.
Heinz. There we go. We're way off.
Okay. Back to the Beatles.
Back to the Beatles. The other thing that's awesome, I think, is killer is Paul McCartney's bass line. This is I mean, it carries the song really
It
because
does.
it's not Ringo's voice.
It does. I mean, I tap along to the bass line instead of tapping along to the drum beat on that song for sure.
And it's Paul starts really really high on the neck and high on the register, and it's funny. It's just kind of in the mid range, and then it just drops really deep, and that's when you start getting that bouncy feeling. And even in the chorus, he does like 2 root notes, and then he does this walking bass line, which makes you feel like you just kind of want to like kind of go for a walk, bebopping around town and
bebopping down the street.
That's a Paul McCartney signature
on a sunny day.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's exactly what it is. So I really like that stuff. I think that makes the whole song actually.
Yeah.
If you just had a normal bass line, you could have changed that and made it a little more simple bass line, or even turned it down and make it less forward. But with the vocals not being, stellar, lead vocals. Let me say that.
Yeah, there were some good background vocals in that
song. Background vocals.
Sure.
I mean, this is what it means. I mean, with a little help of my friends, because if you didn't have your friends back there, the song would suck because you can't carry a tune, dude. You got to have those other 3 guys.
But he needed a song on every album. I mean, it was and this was the one for him to sing.
Couldn't you just put it in the run out groove, like where like it just goes around?
Yeah.
That sounds like where Ringo's great drummer. Just dude, give him another Yellow Submarine.
Yeah. Speaking of drumming, there was like a little change, from one part of the song to the next, and there's a little drum fill in there that I liked. Couldn't tell you that.
When they recorded his drums, they actually recorded it faster than the song, and then slightly slowed it down. So that's why you get these ringing heavy toms and stuff like that. It creates more resonance.
It's brilliant. I mean, George Martin, like you say.
George F. and Martin.
The same guy who wrote all the books for House of the Dragon or whatever.
Nice. GFM. George fucking Martin.
I don't think they're the same, but...
Yeah, well, never know. That guy he's multi-talented. Man.
Yeah.
But at 2:35, man, his high note, the climax of the songs, it's brutal to me, but it also, it kind of gets to the meaning of the song, right? Like, I interpret the song as saying, hey, you got this lead singer, and he needs all these people surrounding him or all this stuff around him to do whatever he's trying to do here. But man, that note's tough, but all those harmonics or all the harmonies and stuff are just, I think they nail it. And it's all his friends helping him out, so it's cool. Yeah,
I agree. I like that point, but I do have to admit I was focusing on one thing, and that was the word climax at 2:35.
Oh.
Because I don't think you've ever lasted that long. I mean, I don't know personally.
Yeah.
But he is married to someone I know.
Your sister.
Oh, yeah. She's never talked to me about your sex life, so I don't know why I brought this up.
I'm getting extremely uncomfortable just thinking about it. But no, it's I thought you were going to go on another Taylor Swift reference. So.
Oh, well. I got nothing for that right now. I mean, maybe in the Joe Cocker section, I'll bring out, bring it full circle.
We're really scraping the basement here that we're doing cock references, and did we? Oh, I guess I brought that up, didn't I? Damn it.
No, I think I mean, it was probably me.
I dodged a bullet there. The last thing is, I'll bring this up, and this is, I think this is a very subtle thing, and these are the things that we're hoping that people kind of pick up on and want to talk about, is the very end of the song, and I'm talking like the very, very end. There's a thing where they want to try to resolve the song or make it feel like you kind of exhale and be done. And all the notes in the song, all the harmonies, all the notes in the song, not the harmonies, they all kind of go down to resolve the note. But all the harmonies, they kind of do this note that's kind of a tick up. It raises up a little bit. And it's sort of like it ends with a question. Like it could go da 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 and be done, but it goes da 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 da, like it's like they're questioning something. And I think it gives you hope in this song of your friends, and I think that's what they're trying to say.
Yeah, that's deep.
It's this like podcast is going to get. I mean, we've been all over the map here in the last 27 minutes and 30 seconds. So
yeah, We have. I mean, more than the first time for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
could be an extra 3 beers.
yeah, it could be.
So yeah, so man, what a great tune. I tell you, man, I every time I listen to this, I pick out something different, and but then you gotta
Well, one moment,
one moment.
because I do have a point that I thought was really good
Oh,
that didn't get recorded, and because I did have a question for you, and I wanted your interpretation on lyrics
all right.
from this song, because one of the lines was, "What do you see when you turn out the lights?" And the answer to that question was, "I can't tell you, but I know it's mine."
That is a. I'm sure it's deep. I mean, it's the deep. I mean, for a song that sounds very superficial, it's the deepest line I think in the whole thing. What do you see when you're turning out the lights? Well, I think you don't see anything. Uh,
That's why I can't tell you.
yeah. And I think that's kind of saying, you don't really have anything without your friends, I guess in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. That's the deepest one I got. It's got to be something around there.
Okay. I was thinking you were going to go a different route and maybe something to do with masturbation
Oh, my.
or, because he can't see it, but he can feel it and he knows it's his.
Oh, my. Well,
But
I guess, this podcast is NC-17, right?
could be
At this point, it
at
is.
this point. But, we'll get back to that,
Yeah.
self-pleasure talk, on another episode.
The self-pleasure talk. I love it. I love it. I love it. So we're going to go and start talking about Joe Cocker now. Best cover artist of all time, rock and roll cover artist of all time.
I mean, he's
come
got to be
on.
up there.
Yeah.
He'd be a name that popped into my head pretty quick on that list.
And he has got to have a set on him. I mean, okay, so get this. He's there in 1968, a year after the little band called the Beatles decided to write this song.
One short year.
364 days plus one. And he goes in there and says, "Hey guys, I got a song I want to do this one." And they're like, "Well, how are you gonna? You got this beautiful voice. How are you gonna sound like shitty like Ringo Starr?"
That's probably exactly how the conversation went.
He was probably like, "Hey mate,
they were eating fish and chips too. I can imagine it. I could just picture it.
I like these fish and chips, but you know what I would like more? To redo this Beatles song and make it iconic, mate." And so Joe Cocker, he has been known to really put his own fingerprint on songs. I put on "Spell on You," "I Shall Be Released," which is a Bob Dylan song. "Everybody Hurts," REM. "Ain't No Sunshine," Bill Withers. "She Came In Through the Bathroom Window," Beatles. I bet you he was on the pooper when he said he wanted to redo that one. He's like, "Hey mates,
I don't know.
I'm on the pooper.
I don't know.
I got another song I want to do." "Feeling All Right" by Traffic, which, by the way, that's actually probably due to be on this podcast at some point. That's a hell of a song.
Yeah.
"Unchain My Heart," Ray Charles, and "You Are So Beautiful" by Billy Preston. And look, it wasn't like Joe Cocker. I mean, Joe Cocker was in some other bands, but this is his first album that he decided to cover the Beatles. I mean, like I said,
and he even named the album.
Oh yeah, he's like, "Yeah,
song.
I'm not gonna hide it on this album. I'm gonna put it in your face, put two middle fingers, like, hey, Skittlepuss, come get me."
Bringing it back to Taylor Swift. I like what you've done there.
And by the way, I didn't know a person on their first album get so coked up that they did an album cover like that.
He got coked up and then scared. Like, he just looks like, what the fuck touched my butt or something. I don't know. You gotta check out the album.
That's exactly right. He's looks like he's in one of those haunted houses that flash a photo, like flash real quick, and they take a photo of you, and then they put all those photos online and like make it. That's. But he decided to put it on his first album cover with a Beatles song on it.
Hey, you know what? Save on producing costs. Like, he doesn't have to pay a photographer. He's got the picture.
Inspired by the Beatles, who used crowd noise.
True.
He's like, I mean, back there in the late '60s, they were like all about saving some money.
They needed it for cocaine.
Absolutely. I mean, they had a lot of time on their hands too. I mean,
one thing that surprises me is that I thought you said that. What's a Unchain My Heart?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking Unbreak My Heart,
Oh,
which I think is like a
Whitney Houston or
Whitney
something?
Houston maybe, and I'd like to hear Joe Cocker cover that too. So maybe we'll hit him up on X, slip into his DMs or
AKA
something.
Twitter. They
AKA
haven't
Twitter.
fully
We
committed.
can't. Yeah, you still gotta say AKA Twitter.
Yeah.
But yes, this version is amazing. Just like the first song's amazing, but this is he totally changed the song. He
Yeah.
made it his own.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Oh man, it's great. Also was used as the opening theme for the Wonder Years.
Wonderful show. I grew up with that show.
That girl's hot.
Oh, Winnie.
Is that her name?
Yeah, Winnie Cooper.
Oh, when you said Winnie, I instantly wanted to go the poo,
The
and I was
Pooh.
gonna be like, oh wait, we're gonna derail this podcast again here pretty quick.
No, great show, but yeah, to have that as your have Joe Cocker
Yeah.
version as a that opening theme song just makes it so culturally relevant. Probably a lot of kids out there listening to us right now, playing Fortnite and listening to our podcast, and they don't know what the Wonder Years is. Check it out.
Yeah.
Google it. Find it on.
I'm gonna have to watch it again
Hulu.
and see if it still stands up. I'm sure it does.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Was there a narrator through that too?
Yes.
Like a guy talking. All
Yeah,
the
and
time?
it was a famous narrator, I believe.
Yeah.
Like it's somebody famous, like Bob Saget or something.
I was thinking Foghorn Leghorn. I'm not sure why, but as a matter of fact, we should dub in that show with just Foghorn Leghorn impersonation, but use the same words. We fucked up.
And back to the song.
So, song, 5 minutes and 12 seconds. He said no can do on keeping it short and sweet. We want this thing to go straight to #1 in the 60s, so we're going to put it at 5:12.
Yeah.
We will dominate the airwaves. And on Spotify, the album version has had 164 million listens, which is about 40 more million listens than the original. So
Wow.
it just shows how iconic
Yeah.
this song is.
Well, he didn't have any previous crowd noises to record and put into this version, but I think that was a smart move. I understand why the Beatles did it, and I love it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make for a great radio single.
No, and it would have been funny if he had his crowd noises dubbed in. It would have been like his mom in the back, just clapping her hands.
I love you, Joey.
I love you, mate.
Oh yeah, I forgot she's British too.
So yeah, let's give this a listen.
Yeah, let's do it. Let her
see
rip.
See you in 5 minutes and 12 seconds.
Enjoy.
And it goes on forever.
In a good way, though,
Oh my gosh.
in my opinion.
They could have put that in the run out groove. Like I said, they just had it kept going around
Yeah.
around forever. That would have been awesome.
I could have. Those horns. Love them.
It's crazy to me the difference between these two songs because they're so obviously the words are relatively the same. There's a lot of ad-libbing obviously in Joe
Mhm.
Cocker's version, but it's almost like the viewpoint or the meaning changes somewhat slightly to me. And I look at this, I actually wrote this down while the song was playing, is that where the Beatles version is about sort of this hope and kind of getting along kind of a thing. I feel like this has an undertone of rebellion, like fuck you, I'm going to do it with my friends. Like
Okay.
it's sort of like giving a finger to establishment versus the Beatles, which was like, hey guys, let's all go do this together. Do you feel that?
Yeah, I honestly hadn't had that thought, but as you say it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I can definitely see it that way and picture it that way.
And that's what's so cool about like these conversations is that you can an artist can interpret these different, and also a listener can interpret it different, right? I mean, you might not get it, or you might not feel that way, or you listeners out there might not feel that same way. The other big thing that obviously comes right up to the top of the thing is the polish of Sgt. Pepper's version versus the grit of this one. I mean, this one is like you feel like you're in the room with them. Like you can feel the production in the Sgt. Pepper's, but here you feel like I actually don't know how they would even recorded this because there is so much little ad-libbing. The guitars, I mean, that guitar.
Yeah.
Dude.
Do you know who played that guitar?
No.
Jimmy Page.
No way.
from a little
Jimmy Page.
band called Led Zeppelin.
A little bit. Led Zeppelin. If you guys haven't heard of Led Zeppelin, you kids listening to Fortnite or playing Fortnite right now, go pick up Led Zeppelin, any of their albums. No, actually, one of their first 4. After that, it gets a little weird. Just,
Yeah,
it's unreal.
yeah. I actually didn't know that until I was doing a little research, and no, I never knew that. You know, that he recorded that song.
It's funny
Joe.
because there is a tone, like a phrasing that Jimmy Page does, and that's in this that is it's awesome, and it's funny because there's parts of this song where you hear the rhythm guitar so heavy, and obviously it's present, but there's a lot of parts where you're mesmerized by Joe Cocker's voice because it's so much, and obviously those backup singers, that soul that comes through with them. And it's weird how that guitar kind of weaves in and out. Like you hear it in parts. It's like, oh, I know that riff. And then there's other parts that it's behind it all, and it's it's great how they did that.
I agree that the way that song is mixed and how it brings you so many different places, and like you pointed out, the soul, like just the soul of the background singers and the soul of Joe Cocker, obviously, and just his power, and then you're throwing in some horns in there. The bass line is a nice driving bass line, but it's definitely not Paul's, but the
bass, it's funny because it also contrasts through there. You hear it all the time, but also it softens up and does sort of those high register that do 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 do, and then it goes into that drive big foundation that the rest of the song was built on, which is just, again, it's amazing that they layered it that way. Going back to the guitar, there is one spot, and I listened to this song probably a dozen or so times, or maybe even more, leading up as we picked the song to do. And there's one part at 424 where and obviously Jimmy Page, I didn't know this, but where the guitar is just kind of playing its riffs, and then all of a sudden it goes right in unison with Joe Cocker's voice, and it's funny because it does a vibrato while he's doing it, and it just, again, it thickens everything up, and it's just that soul that comes through, and it just I get, my hair sticks up on my arms when I think about like those little nuances and how that's a moment of studio magic or somewhat live magic. I don't know. Again, I don't know how they really recorded it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, for years I never really understood the recording process, and I know I'm getting a little off track here, but I didn't realize how much went into things, like you mentioned with the Beatles, and hopefully it was in this recording, but about how they sped up or slowed down Ringo's drums.
They recorded the drums faster,
okay,
and then slowed them down to the speed so they would be lower and more drawn out.
Yeah. Like in my pea-sized music brain, it was just like you go in the studio and you play and record. But no, I mean, it's just like so many different parts are recorded at different times, and then different random things and just the technology they had that George Martin had back then to what's available now. I mean, and where they were using actual tape a lot and not digital recording. And anyway, so a little segue, but I just wanted to point that out, that I really, not until probably the last 5 years, really never dug into how music was recorded, and then seeing some documentaries and reading random things, it really blows your mind. And then you have, these albums that you hear, oh yeah, this album was recorded live in studio kind of thing. That's impressive too. I mean, they're all professional musicians, even if it's recorded in 10 different takes or 10 different times or whatever. But yeah, just to think about all the work that's usually put into an album, and then to say, yep, we recorded this.
You know what I think is, and to add on to that, I think there's sort of some intentions you have by doing it one way or the other, right? So on Sgt. Pepper's, right, they're going in there and making sure that those vocal harmonies are exactly right, like they're perfect, and that's why they do them, at separate times, or record it separate from the music, obviously, for sure, is because they're trying to get them to be so perfectly precise, and that's great. It sounds awesome because it's perfect. Okay, I go back and then I listen to Joe Cocker's version of this, right? Well, let's talk about those backup singers that are there. that soul, what you're hearing in their voice there, that soul is actually them being ever so slightly out of tune or going in and out of tune to give it some of that and it's just soul is the last is in it's umami. I mean,
That real
it's just that
feeling.
real feeling.
Yeah.
And like if I'm playing my guitar, when I play chords and stuff like that, I'm playing, hopefully playing the right notes or the things there. But when I'm playing a guitar solo, a lot of those expressions that you do are slightly bending those strings or vibrating those strings through vibrato to give it some of that feel. And again, this version of that song oozes with feel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just it's just, gosh, I mean, just it's all over it. It's all over it. So
yeah.
And then at 3:48, I'm gonna call it the scream.
Oh yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
Like
that. If that doesn't give you chills, I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know what would.
Yeah, and it's cool because I can say that, and you're like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I honestly, listening to this song, intently over the last week, gosh, you just look forward to that because that is the climax, and you still got a bunch more of the song to go. Where on the Sgt. Pepper's version, the climax is the very end to get you into the album. This is the climax is right here at 3/4 of the way through the song. It's and
I just had a thought though too about that scream and how wonderful it is. Think about the picture on the album. Maybe that was at the haunted house, and while they were taking that picture, he was doing that scream, and then he's like, "This is what I have to put in the song."
No, that's not what he said. He said, "Mate."
Damn
this
it.
is what I could put.
I got to work on my accents because I can't keep up with you. I haven't even tried. I don't want to embarrass myself.
Takes years of practice, man. I mean, to get accents like this. I mean, wait till I start. Wait till we start getting some Swedish people or something like that. I don't know any bands from Sweden right now. ABBA.
I the only Swedish thing I know is the chef.
The chef. Doinga boinga. That's I'll polish that up in the next week or so.
Yeah, maybe we should. I mean, was that a little insensitive to Swedish listeners? I apologize. It's not my fault.
What, they're good chefs?
No, but the whole.
Actually, are they good chefs? I don't know any food from Sweden that I'm like, bam, I'm gonna have that.
I don't know. It's all right. Jim Henson made it. It's okay.
Tune in to the next podcast. I'll tell you guys if there's any food from Sweden that I actually like.
Swedish fish. They'll get stuck in your teeth.
No, I am not into fish crackers.
Oh, that's right. I forget about your weird
backstory, folks. Is for years as a kid, I was a pretty picky eater, and for some reason, I had picked up, what are those crackers called?
Goldfish
crackers. Thanks for the heads up on that one. And I had in my head thought that they were flavored like fish, so
makes sense.
Yeah, so I didn't ever eat them because I didn't really like fish, and so in my head I ate one day and it was like it was horrible. Like I was like So even to this day I don't eat goldfish crackers because I believe that they probably taste like fish. Back to the song.
Spoiler alert, they don't. They're delicious. Original's great. Parmesan's probably my favorite. Back to the song.
back to the song. So yeah. So now the format of this thing is we're gonna listen to both these songs like we did, and then we're gonna lay it all out there and say which one's our favorite. And Charlie, I'm gonna start with you, man. What do you think?
Well, first I want to say that this was a great first choice for a song. Like we decided we described we needed a little help from our friends to really just get that kick in the butt to get going on this. I'm really glad I like the song. I like both versions because I listened to it a lot leading up to this, and so I'm afraid going forward if I have to I might just be like, I'll just wing it. I won't listen to these ones too many times on other songs. We'll see what happens, but we'll probably, we like music so much and so much different styles, like I'm sure there'll be nothing I hate in here till we get to
Pavarotti.
Yeah.
Or some Swedish ABBA.
That was pretty good. I could get down on some of their stuff. Anyways. So at this point we reveal to each other because we haven't talked about which one's our favorite. We kind of want it to be organic and a surprise to one another. We might kind of have an idea where where one's going or the other. But my choice for the song, my favorite version of this song is Joe Cocker.
Joe Cocker. We not, you know what we should get is one of those sound effects things for a celebration, the little bing, 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 bing,
Yeah.
and like, well, we could get crowd noise.
Well, with this fancy soundboard I got, again, hopefully this is actually recording our voices this time. It does have some little buttons, so
I like it.
so we'll try to program something in here. But yeah, I picked Joe Cocker because, you know, we keep talking about the soul and the heart of the song and everything, and just there's nothing I don't necessarily like or dislike about the Beatles song per se, but the Joe Cocker just has, to me, has so much more feeling,
Mm-hmm.
and that I think I have to go, and
Yeah.
not think, I know that is my choice as my favorite version.
Nice. Yeah, so I really went back and forth on this a lot, and that's probably why I listened to it so many times. And I tried to kind of break this down pragmatically. The Beatles, they wrote it. It's sonically more or less perfect. Intentions, because they wrote it, obviously they executed that perfectly. And the bass line to me is just awesome. Like I think it's great listening to that. I get something new out of it every time. Joe Cocker's version is soul for days. You know me, guitars. Like, I'm sure people will find out that raging guitars typically win for me. So the backup singers, it's 5/12. It's twice as long, so I get twice as much fun. It's like what are those paydays that have two bars in them?
Like a king size?
Yeah, king size, like a king size.
Double mint
Yeah.
fun, double your pleasure.
And it doesn't have Ringo Starr on it as a joke, you know, like so I'm sure they're like, yeah. So after the 6 or 7 beers that I had and the number 2 take here, yeah, I think it's Joe Cocker for me today. Now,
Okay.
In the car the other day when I was driving back from Michigan, it was Beatles all, like, and it was Beatles by a lot to me. So it's definitely going to be in the mood that I'm feeling, but yeah, I think, you know, if I got out of church or if it was a sunny day and I had my headphones in, I bet you it would flip over to the Beatles. But yeah, today it's definitely Joe Cocker today. So
Okay.
so yeah, we got a unanimous choice here.
Twofer. We agreed. I was looking at this Beatles cover, and with all the famous people on it,
Mm-hmm.
I think what they should have done after Joe Cocker re-recorded their song and it was a number 1 hit, I think the Beatles should have redone the cover and added Joe Cocker somewhere in there.
Yeah, they should have.
That would have been pretty cool.
Yeah, that would have been.
I mean, it probably costs a lot of money, but
I mean,
they're the Beatles.
No, they're not about money, are they? I mean,
No, probably not.
probably not.
At least not 2 of them.
Oh, too soon.
Too soon.
Dark
soon. There.
Well, this kind of wraps it up. So biggest thing is guys, leaving us some notes in the comments or reach out to us. Tell us what you think. It'd be great to get your guys' perspective and your parts of the songs that you think are cool or we missed. Obviously we talk about a lot on here, so I hope you enjoy the format.
Yeah. If there's anything, like, again, our first time, we just kind of want to make it conversational.
Yeah.
And fun at the same time. And, but yeah, some comments, feedback. Awesome. Constructive criticism. Please don't bully us.
Yeah, you can bully Charlie. I mean,
okay. Well, I guess this is our last episode. No, I can't wait to do this again and talk with you about some other songs and see what the world has to say.
Right on. And thanks, Charlie, for pulling all this together. This has been super, super fun. I can't wait to do a bunch more of these. And check us out wherever you guys get your podcasts. And we'll see you soon. Over and out.
Yep. Take care.